Coach Frost, after the game the other day in Lubbock, said he just obviously disappointed years old, but he couldn't wait to get back on the field and get ready for the next one. So what kind of response have you seen from the guys last night in today's practice?
Yeah, I think what you want to see in regards to wanting to get better. Like Coach Frost mentioned, excited to get back on the field. We know we got work to do, and that's every day, and we're continuing to battle. So, yeah, good to get real first padded practice under our belt. So, we're on to the next. All focus is on Oklahoma State right now, but it's good to be back on the grass.
Scott talked about this is going to be a thin room at quarterback with Taven and Davi being the guys to go forward with over the next couple games. Does that change how you do anything in practice? Does it change some of your game planning because of the fact that the room is a little thin?
Yeah, for sure it does. Most of them are subtle, but different plays for different guys, making sure both guys are getting the rep right and left. And, it's been like that all year. I mean, it's like that for every team. I shouldn't say just us specifically. Just making sure we're ready to go and knowing that we can throw Davi in and he's got some experience under his belt, which is a good thing. So just trying to balance the strengths and weaknesses out of both guys and continue to practice, and we know we're rolling with those two.
Coach, obviously you want to get one of the top teams in the country, but what did you hope to see more from the offense?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would have liked to see in the critical moments, and we're talking third downs, you'd like to see just a little bit more precision and execution. And we've seen that in practice, which that's the thing that we're preaching and we show video. Man, it's the same look from 3 weeks ago and we executed this. So I don't know if the moment was too big for some or if it was a situation where we just didn't play our best. So, big picture, just you have to execute no matter the circumstances, doesn't matter who you're playing. And so it's just a lot of the same stuff that we got to keep getting better at. And like I've always said, those are the things you have to continue to work on in practice, and eventually, the dam will break. So we just got to keep chucking away at it.
Taven, 27 of 33, 2 passes more than 20 yards. So how would you describe the state of your deep passing game right now?
Yeah, not where we want it to be. Some of that's timing, some of that is fresh legs at this point in the season, depth. You add all those things up, and you're exactly right. To be explosive, you have to get some balls over the top. And we tried a couple. When you're playing against a pass rush like Texas Tech provides, you're going to be in situations where you do have to get the ball out quick. So we knew that we had to hit on the minimum amount of shots that we did have in the game, and we missed narrowly on a couple. Where we're at right now going into this week, those are things that we're obviously paying attention to and trying to make sure that the protection's set. We got the right guy for that spot, make sure the guy's legs are fresh, and the communication of those things. And it's easy to get that in practice because you script it, you get in a game, you have to be able to adjust and make those things work. Not where we want it to be. That's definitely a point of emphasis, because to be the explosive offense we want to be in the run game, you can back the safeties up if you're more effective in the deep passing game.
Fans focus on the quarterback and may not understand what the wide receivers are doing. What more do you need to see from wide receivers this week?
Yeah, big one, and this is a small detail that matters. When we look back for the football, we got to continue to run full speed. It's the classic thing. You come from high school and you're used to seeing every rotation of the ball when it leaves the quarterback's hands because you're such a better athlete compared to the competition you're playing against. So I think what we have is some younger guys that are adapting and adjusting to the speed of college football, and we've had it at times. So it's not like we don't know how to do that. It's just being consistent with those things and tracking the ball in flight. Precision and route running and detail. But it's not just the receivers, it's not just the quarterback, it's not just the protection, it's all those things combined. And where we're at in the season right now, it seems like when we play on the road, we don't have the precision and detail that we need. And then sometimes at home, it all looks like it's supposed to look, So Coach Frost pulled some tape up and showed guys doing it in spots, in the West Virginia game, and going back to North Carolina game, going back to the first game of the year. And it's there, and the guys can do it. And we have full trust and faith that the guys that we got can make those plays. The quarterbacks we got can make those throws. The offensive linemen that we have can protect. And most part, guys are doing it, and you need all 11 at the same time to execute against a defense like the one we just played against.
Coach, we got to see AG out there for a little bit in the Texas Tech game right there. Just what did you get a chance to see out of him with the increase in playing time, and how much do you think he learned from that?
Yeah, proud of AG coming in. He's a smart kid, and he executed, which is cool to see. So if anything, that's just a little bit more trust and faith in him. We already had trust and faith. It's just where he was in the depth and next man up mentality. Not surprised that he had some success when he got in the game.
Coach Rich just got done telling us bluntly
play that was an embarrassing loss. And then on the sidelines, he's thinking maybe, what are the Texas Tech coaches doing better than the coaches at UCF? When you're on the sideline, what's your thought process like in a game like that?
Yeah, I'm in the box, so I get to see probably even a little bit more, but same sentiment. One, that team flew around, and listen, man, I don't really pay attention to the offense around the field. I got more stuff to do, so I'm not paying attention to what our defense is doing or what our special teams is doing. That's just my focus is on the 11 guys we have on the field on offense. So strictly from the defensive standpoint from Texas Tech, that's a team that swarms. Yeah, they got some really good players across the board. They're very talented, but they play together. You can tell that there was an energy there. They fed off each other, celebrated together. And I think that's one thing that we need to continue to build as we build this team. And we're excited about where we're going. Like Coach Frost mentioned, he was excited to get his feet back on the grass for practice and keep working. But that's what it needs to look like. Guys excited for each other, guys excited to make plays, guys excited to be there, be the most excited team to play. We saw that coming from Texas Tech. Now, the next layer to that is when you have that level of intention, you have that level of excitement, the details and the fundamentals show up and you have a little bit more belief. Not to go Ted Lasso on you guys, but that's what it seemed like they had on defense. And we've had it in spots. We need to be more consistent with that. At this point in the season, it is what it is. This is a team trying to find its way. And I have full faith that we're going to get things done in practice tomorrow and the next day, and we're going to get ready to go and get after it on Saturday.
One of the bright spots on offense has been Dylan Wade. He's been gutting through an injury the entire season. I mean, we can see he's not 100%. He went up for the touchdown and came back down on that shoulder. I know he was hurting. Can you just talk about what Dylan has been able to provide you guys this year through it all?
Yeah, I mean, he's proven to his teammates and the coaching staff that he's a willing blocker and he's a guy that can make plays on the football. And obviously, there's a lot of growth potential there too. And talk to D Wade about that every day. But it's good to have a playmaker like that and someone that's willing to put his body on the line like he did on that play. So I'm really glad we have him. We're just going to keep working on getting him better.
Saturday's senior day, and you got a lot of guys who are going to celebrate their final time here playing at home. Guys like Paul Rubel. What does a guy like Paul, who's been around for 5 years, what does he mean kind of to this program as you guys look to kind of continue?
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, Paul's the outlier in 2025 college football. So really proud of him and the work that he's put forward from the time before I even knew him. And, he represents what it means to be a Knight. He represents what it means to be a loyal student athlete. And I think it's a really cool story. Excited for him. Going to give my best effort like every week. A little maybe extra for him because of guys like that. And, other seniors like Miles, who did transfer here but has been around for a few years. Nixon, who's only been here for 1 year. Like, it means a lot because this is your last home football game. And so I think the guys will rally around that and pour everything they got into the game. That's what my hope is, and I get the feeling that that's what's going to happen.
I kind of want to follow up on Miles. Coach Frost gave him huge praise. There's a reason he said, wish I had 40 of him on the team. I mean, what has Miles meant for this offense, especially as a senior, not knowing that he's going to be a part of the future, but trying to be a part of that rebuilding phase?
Yeah, I think, Miles football player, period. I mean, that's what he is to the core and all the good things that come with it. He's a competitor. He's got high energy. He brings the juice. And, not having him last week, even though he was on the sideline, that took away from a little bit of the identity of our offense. So having him back this week and getting him rolling and being out there for senior night, I think that's a special deal.
With all the changes in college football, how does senior day feel differently to you?
Yeah, you just got to lean into the guys like Paul, the guys that mean a lot to this place. And it's different because, sure, there's some guys that have only been here for 1 year and this is going to be their last year, but every year is its own thing. And that's always been true. So we're going to pour into these seniors because it's their last college football game.
How vivid are your memories of your senior day?
To be honest, not that vivid. It's so funny when you think about, like, as a player, it's the random things that I can't even tell you if that was my freshman year or my junior year. And it's those things that you remember, not necessarily the last game or the last play, the wins and the losses. But I think it's special because it's a celebration of all those things when we go out there on Saturday.
Coach, with a couple of injuries there you have in the O-line, have you been, contending with that over the past couple of weeks, and what does it look like now that they have to, with their senior day coming up?
You're saying what does it look like for the offensive line with?
with senior day coming up, with the injuries, what their status is, regardless of their player.
Okay, I get what you're asking. I think it really kind of goes into like when you asked me like how vivid is your memory of senior day and your last game? Like not that vivid. It's a celebration of the time spent with each other, the time spent in this program, and then just the rite of passage of being a college football player. So I think there's going to be some emotions. I think guys are going to play hard. I think it's going to be a special moment. But as soon as that's over, all the pregame hoopla, like it's time to play football and we got to go. And I think that the guys are going to be excited and ramped up to play this game.
The game this weekend, Oklahoma State, also a struggling team in the Big 12. But as you guys like to say, an opponent's an opponent every week. There's no difference. But going into this game on Saturday, what are some key things that you're focused on after looking at game film from Oklahoma State?
Yeah, first of all, everyone's got to pull the tape up and watch this defense play against Kansas State last week. It looks like almost like a different team coming off their bye week, different scheme, doing a lot of different things, playing as fast as they played all year. By far and away, if you pull up the tape, that's the best this team has played, and they played together. So that's the first thing. So our guys understand that challenge. This is going to be a good football team that's coming out to play. I understand the record. I understand all these things, but this is a Big 12 football team that's playing their best football on defense right now. What we've seen on tape, yeah, certainly going to be some things that we're going to try and attack each week. We're always going to try and find a way to put our guys in advantage, but this is a good football team coming in. I think our guys are excited for the challenge and get to play an opportunity senior night at home. Yeah, it'll be a cool atmosphere, and it's going to be a good challenge for us.
You were shorthanded on the offensive line this past week. How do you think that group adjusted? You know, Cam Kinney at center, Owen Spellsbury, more Connor Meadows. How do you think that group did, and what's the expectation going into this one?
Yeah, proud of the guys that came in and played different roles that they hadn't been in for the season, but definitely hurts you when you lose some continuity at key spots, and when you're playing with a different center, the calls come in a little bit differently, the communication levels a little bit differently, so we'll give those guys some grace, but I think what we understand now is it really doesn't matter who's out there, it's next man up. So moving forward into this next week, if we got moving pieces at different positions and not just offensive line, it's always going to be that way. We had some guys that were dinged up last week, a little bit fresher this week. We got some guys that are going to be dinged up this week, and that's just going to mean that might be a little bit different continuity of who's getting the reps with who as we get the final IR, the injury report here at the end of the week. We're still working through those things, but proud of the guys for coming in and filling a role, but it's always going to be next up mentality, and we have to be able to execute no matter the circumstance. And certainly an area we could have been better.
Last week you went into some detail about how you were addressing practice to deal with penalties.
Yeah.
What did you see against Texas Tech in that?
Yeah, we still had a handful, which is too many. Anytime you have one penalty, it's too many. But in regards to the crowd noise and getting in and out of the huddle, we had a couple issues, but the big ones that hurt us in Baylor, we were able to solve through how we practice that week, and that's the communication from the headset to the quarterback, getting the play out. So that was better. But man, we got to continue to work on those things with a younger football team. With it being first year, it's not where you want it to be. But I understand like these things take time, and we seem to be a little bit better with some of these things at home. So we're going to continue to push the buttons. We're hitting the right buttons in practice, but it wasn't as good as I'd like it to be. But you can certainly see the progress being made.
Coach Dwayne Thomas has been a jack of all trades, whether the return game, passing game, or even the rushing game. Now, how do you kind of plan to utilize him in these final two matches, knowing that he's everywhere on the field and he can only take so much?
He can't play every position at once, and he can't play every play. 70 snaps would be a lot for a guy. We're just happy that we have him because he's a useful weapon in this offense, and we're going to continue to try and find creative ways to use him. A lot of times that's going to be to his skill strengths. The other thing is going to be to what the defense has given us, and we're always going to try and find edge with them.
Has he taken pride in kind of being wherever the offense needed him?
Well, does he take pride in that? Yeah, I think so. I've never had like a pointed conversation about it with him. It's just kind of what's understood doesn't need to be explained, and I think he's always open for that role.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Coach.